In the mind-bending fifth episode of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch Season 6, the investigation team takes their most aggressive approach yet to study the mysterious bubble they believe exists on the property. Led by astrophysicist Dr. Travis Taylor and ranch superintendent Eric Bard, the team deploys multiple high-tech devices including a military-grade Helikite, Lidar drones, and rockets in attempts to penetrate and understand this invisible barrier. What they discover not only strengthens the case for the bubble's existence, but reveals something potentially even more terrifying lurking within the ranch boundaries. The episode begins with the team explaining their current understanding of the bubble, an invisible dome-like structure centered at the triangle area of the ranch, extending both above and below ground. This mysterious barrier has been detected through Lidar, light detection and ranging measurements, and seems to correspond with areas where strange phenomena occur. To better understand this structure, they've invited specialists from U.S. Kites to help deploy a Helikite, a hybrid between a helium balloon and a kite that can hover stably and carry scientific instruments. Eric explains that they've tried exploring the bubble with helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft, drones, and rockets, but the Helikite represents a new approach. The team outfits the Helikite with multiple instruments, including high-speed cameras, a GPS tracker, and a signal generator broadcasting at a specific frequency, 1.2 GHz. Their plan is to position the Helikite at the eastern boundary of the bubble, while Jim Royston attempts to fly his Lidar drone through it, and Travis launches rockets into it from outside. The experiment quickly yields bizarre results. As Thomas tows the Helikite to the eastern boundary of the bubble using a UTV, Eric notices something strange happening with the GPS data. The tracker on the Helikite is showing locations deep underground, hundreds of feet below the surface, despite the device floating in the air. This GPS tracker took a deep dive underground, Eric notes with astonishment, pointing out that they've seen similar GPS anomalies in previous investigations. As the Helikite reaches the bubble's boundary, Jim attempts to launch his Lidar drone but encounters immediate problems. Meanwhile, Travis detects a duplicate 1.2 GHz signal that they aren't broadcasting. Something appears to be mimicking their signal generator. When Travis launches the first rocket toward the bubble, instead of flying straight through, it veers sharply to the north as if being deflected around the barrier. A second rocket launched moments later deflects to the south. There's absolutely no reason we should be seeing any of these malfunctions with the rocket launches, Travis states, visibly perplexed. The next day, after processing the data from the Helikite experiment, the team meets to review their findings. Eric shares images from the high-speed cameras that reveal several unidentified objects moving through the frame's small, translucent dots that appear to move behind elements of the Helikite, ruling out the possibility they were simply bugs on the lens. The team speculates whether these could be related to the UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, they've observed previously on the ranch. Building on these intriguing results, the team decides to investigate the southern boundary of the bubble at Dry Gulch Creek. They equip 2 kayaks with scientific instruments including a sonar system, tri-field meter to measure radiation, and GPS tracker. Biologist Ben Woodruff joins them to help identify any unusual biological phenomena. As they approach the bubble's boundary, their equipment begins malfunctioning. The tri-field meter reads 0, which Eric says is impossible in any natural environment. The sonar loses connection, and the GPS again shows positions underground and thousands of feet in the air. Jim attempts to fly his Lidar drone across the southern boundary, but receives a strange error message indicating an aircraft is approaching, despite no other aircraft being visible or showing on radar. After manually overriding the warning, he manages to get the drone airborne and begins scanning the boundary. Each time the drone crosses what they believe is the bubble's edge, Eric detects data corruption in the GPS signal. Eventually, the drone system becomes so disrupted it automatically aborts its mission and returns to base. While kayaking through the creek, the team discovers animal scat droppings that Thomas collects for Ben to analyze. 2 days later, in a video conference, Ben delivers shocking news about the samples. They came from a predator that ate a coyote. Whatever it is, it ate a coyote, Ben emphasizes repeatedly, explaining that normal predators in the Utah region like mountain lions might kill coyotes out of competition but wouldn't eat them. Moreover, the scat contained partially digested bone that had been chemically altered, suggesting a digestive system more powerful than any known predator in the region. When Eric asks if a dire wolf would consume a coyote, Ben responds with a definitive yes. The dire wolf reference isn't random. In previous episodes, the team found what appeared to be the carcass of an unknown canine that Ben's analysis suggested might be a dire wolf, a species believed to have gone extinct over 10,000 years ago. The discovery of these droppings in the same general area strengthens the possibility that some unknown predator, possibly resembling an ancient dire wolf, is roaming the property. The team also reviews Lidar data from Jim's drone, discovering another anomaly. A complete strip of missing data that corresponds precisely with the bubble's southern boundary. Eric notes that this area coincides with previous UAP sightings, including a purple orb that appeared to follow Thomas and a silver object captured on surveillance cameras. These things are so tightly correlated it's unbelievable. Eric remarks about the various phenomena clustering around the bubble's boundary. By the episode's end, the team has accumulated compelling evidence that something truly strange exists on Skinwalker Ranch. The bubble appears to physically affect instruments, deflect rockets, corrupt data, and possibly serve as a boundary for unusual biological phenomena. As they wrap up their meeting, they decide to mark the bubble's boundary on the ground with physical posts to facilitate future experiments. Brandon Fugel, the ranch owner, concludes with a chilling observation. This begs the question, what is lurking in the darkest corners and regions of Skinwalker Ranch? The episode provides some of the most concrete evidence yet that something extraordinary is happening at Skinwalker Ranch. The multiple instrument failures and anomalies occurring precisely at the calculated boundary of the bubble strongly suggest that this invisible structure isn't merely theoretical. Additionally, the biological evidence of an apex predator capable of eating coyotes adds a new and potentially dangerous dimension to the ranch's mysteries. What makes this episode particularly compelling is how the team approaches the investigation from multiple scientific angles: physics, electronics, biology, and finds corroborating anomalies across disciplines. The deflection of rockets, the corruption of GPS data, and the detection of unknown aerial phenomena, all clustering around the bubble's boundary, points to something fundamentally altering the normal physics of the area. Meanwhile, the biological evidence suggests that whatever is happening might not be limited to electromagnetic effects, but could be influencing living organisms as well. The episode ends with a preview of upcoming investigations where the team plans to drill into the mesa and conduct further experiments at the bubble's boundary. As they continue to gather evidence, the ranch's mysteries only seem to deepen, with the invisible bubble potentially connecting many of the strange phenomena they've documented over the years. Whether the bubble is technological, supernatural, or something else entirely remains to be determined, but the team is clearly getting closer to understanding the secret of Skinwalker Ranch.